Appreciate it. So I didn't meet all of you, but I'm Coach Childs. I'm the head lacrosse coach here. I'm in my 10th year here at St. Mary's, and feel incredibly fortunate and blessed. I feel like I have the greatest job in the world. Um, I went to our convention back in 2017, and I heard a guy say, "I love what I do. I love where I do it, and I love most of all who I get to do it with." And that is pretty much how I feel every single day that I come to work. I don't have a job. I get to go to work every day. And so to me, there's a big difference. And I get to be around Will, and I get to be around Brett, and I get to be around all these other guys. So it's to say that I am blessed is like beyond, I can't even explain to you how blessed I am to do it. So I love this place, and I'm really, really excited to talk with you about St. Mary's, but also talk to you a little bit about recruiting and what it's all about and what it really should be about, to give you guys an idea, because recruiting has taken on a different path as of late than it used to take on. And I love to do these things to kind of make sure that people understand what is important in recruiting, versus maybe what isn't important at all. So the way that I do this is I love questions, and if mom and dad want to ask questions, I once you get me talking, I can go for a good bit and I can answer some other questions without them being asked. So the last thing I'm going to do is just start talking, because I just want to make sure that I'm saying something pertinent to you. So with that being said, who here has a question about the recruiting process, maybe in general or St. Mary's? Yes, sir.
How many spots are available for scholarship?
Okay, great question. So in Division One and Division Two, they have athletic scholarship. Division Three has no athletic scholarship. You cannot offer any athletic money at all. So much so that I am not allowed to call the financial aid office on behalf of a prospective student athlete. And a prospective student athlete is a recruit. Okay, so I'm not allowed to call that office to say anything other than, as a heads up, so and so is going to be reaching out to you because they would like to appeal their financial aid package. And that is pretty much what I am allowed to say and nothing more. That's how strict Division Three is with uh, like scholarship rules. Division One and Division Two are going through changes right now. They used to you could have as many roster spots as a team wanted to have. So you could have, like the University of Maryland could have 60 guys on their roster, but they were only allowed to give 12.6 scholarships, and they spent that however they want. So there are probably like four people in the history of college lacrosse that have gotten a full ride in lacrosse, and two of their last names are Gate. One of their last names is Petramala, and I'm sure there's maybe like a Power too. But outside of that, a lot of people aren't getting full rides. So now the NCAA went through and they've done this thing where now every school has a roster limit. Okay, and so you are not allowed to have more than, I think it's 48, maybe 44. I have two numbers in my head. I can't remember exactly what it is. But a school can offer up to, a Division One school can offer up to, it's either 44 or 48 scholarships, but you can't have any more than those kids on the team. So it used to be you could have a bunch of walk-ons. Now you can have a bunch of walk-ons if you want to. If a school wants to have 22 scholarships and not 44, they can do that, but they can't have more than 44, or if it's that 48 number, I just can't remember which it is. They can't have more than that, but they don't have to have that. So you could have 22 scholarships, but you can't have more than 48 guys on the team. Does that make sense? And so what that is going to do, now all of a sudden you have these, if Maryland did have a roster of 60, well, now you have these 12 guys that can't play at Maryland because they're not allowed to have that many guys. So now where are those 12 guys going to go? And it starts spreading it out. And so it's going to be a little bit of kind of like settling with that, where the guys that were going to be walk-ons there are now going to be somewhere else as scholarship guys. And those guys are going to be looking for a new home. And it's just going to kind of probably thin out a little bit of the talent. or spread out a little bit more of that talent. So that's kind of how scholarships are starting to work. I don't know what's going to happen in Division Two. They really haven't talked too much about what's going on in Division Two, but they are allowed to opt for scholarships as well. I believe the scholarship limits in Division Two is like 10.2, and that's the maximum number of scholarships you can have in Division Two, I want to say. I love Division Three because I don't have a maximum, I don't have a minimum. I don't have anything. I can't do anything with it. I can't even like call the financial aid office to talk about it. So it allows me to focus on what I can control, which is the relationship with the recruit, which is the most important thing for me when I get to do this. Because me joking around with Brett and Will, like you just saw, started when I was recruiting them. Building that relationship and having that leadership capital in them, they know, very much so, they know that I love them and I know that they love me. And that's what I'm trying to get to here. If I can get young men to truly understand that I love them, then I can hold them accountable to the potential that I saw when I was recruiting. And that's what my job is I think that they are a 10, and if they come in and behave at a 7, then they need to know that there's consequences for acting at a 7. But I do it in a loving way, and I do it pretty much like your mom and dad do it for you. The way I coach my guys is the same exact way that I raise my children. I love them through it, and they make mistakes, and we just get better. So, but that's the stuff that I focus on recruiting, and I get to focus recruiting on that stuff because I don't have to worry about scholarship money. And so my 100%, everything that I do is just built off of connecting and building that relationship. So I know that was more than a very long answer to your very simple question, but I wanted to kind of give you guys as much as I could. I told you I can talk.
Coach, what is your roster size currently? Do you have a limit on your roster size? And what is the cost for room and board and tuition at St. Mary's right now?
Okay, so we do not have a roster limit. Right now, our roster is going to be, if you look around, we have 48 lockers, and we have 50 guys in the team. So right there on that wall is going to go 2 lockers. We're getting 2 lockers put in here so we can be at 50. The fire code for this room is 50, so we can't be more than 50. So we're gonna have to figure some things out to make sure that what we graduate is what we bring in. So we are very, very strict on what we bring in based off of what is leaving. So we recruit to need, not necessarily always want. As far as tuition, room and board, if you are you guys are all in state, so that makes it easy. In state is $30,000, tuition, room, board, fees, everything. So that's everything. We give merit-based aid. Merit-based aid is basically academic scholarship. We also give need-based aid, and even if you don't qualify for it through the federal government, through the FAFSA program, this is more for mom and dad because I'm literally saying a bunch of stuff that's going right over your heads.
If there's a FAFSA.
Yeah. So yes, everyone to get any kind of any kind of aid at St. Mary's, and this is how it mostly works for any college, you have to fill out FAFSA and submit it before they will release any other aid to you. St. Mary's does have aid that you could qualify for, even if you don't qualify for it through the federal government. So, so there are ways to go about that. Other questions? Oh, you have a party tonight. I'll see you soon.
Got sophomores and juniors in here. Do you have any questions on like when a Division III coach?
Well, I can
program?
answer. So I'll just speak to that. So, Division I, okay, they cannot contact you until like, I think it's September 1st of your junior year. What I love about Division III is I could call a 9th grader whenever I want, but I don't call 9th graders. We want to recruit guys as close to the age that they are going to be going to college. So what happens is that when I was, so again, my nickname is Duke. My grandfather nicknamed me after John Wayne. You probably don't know who that is, but I'm sure your parents do. And so my nickname was Duke. I was watching Duke basketball when I was like 4 years old and thought they named the school after me. So I became a massive Duke fan. And so I was this massive Duke fan, and I thought my entire life I was going to go to Duke until I became like a sophomore in college. And my mom and dad sat me down and said, "You don't have the grades to go to Duke, and I don't think you can play at Duke. So let's get a little bit more realistic." So I went to Dickinson College, okay? And so we want to recruit guys. There's no point in recruiting someone in ninth grade because what they think may be happening in ninth grade may not be what's going to be happening when they are in 12th grade. I don't really like to recruit juniors because still as a junior, you're going through a lot of different things and things change. St. Mary's is very unique in that we are a very, very small liberal arts school. Usually the kids that do really, really well at St. Mary's are the ones that realize that they need a small learning environment where the teachers know their names and they have a relationship with their professors. Those are the students that do really, really well here and they thrive. If you don't truly know that about yourself, then you come here and you kind of almost, while you're here, you want more, but not realizing that you need exactly what you're getting here. And those are the students that sometimes struggle here. So we try and get it to the point where we are recruiting guys when they know exactly what they need, when they know that they need that. And usually by 12th grade, you have a pretty good idea of like, okay, I probably need to be in a classroom with 13 guys. These are the colleges that offer that for me, and I can go to, I like those colleges. And so for that, and then a number of other reasons, we try and recruit as much as we possibly can, as close to your 12th grade year as we can possibly get. Every now and then we have a young man who wants to commit that we know, that we've talked to, and it'll be like March of his junior year. And I just hold my breath hoping that he decides to kind of that we got him in the right spot and that this is the right place for him. But most of the time, guys are committing to us either in about July or August going into their senior year. And that seems to kind of really, really, really work well with us. Right now, we have an incredible retention rate with our team. And we really have not really, I think we have one guy in the transfer portal I take that back. We have 3 guys in the transfer portal in the last 6 years. I think that's how long the transfer portal's been out. 2 of them have stayed, and one of them is in the portal right now, and he's a freshman. Very honestly, he went to St. Paul's. He came here, and we are like too much like St. Paul's, and he wants a little bit bigger of a school, so we're just too small for him. But he loves the program and loves the guys. But he just feels like he's too big of a fish in a small pond. And for me, I want him to feel great. I want to get the very best out of our student athletes, and I'm not going to do that if they're not all in. And so I'm trying to make sure that he finds where he feels like he's all in at. Again, I can't explain to you how much I'm into the relationship that I have with guys. Whether you want to transfer, whether you want to stay, I'm very much a relationship guy. Other questions that you can think of? Mom and dad questions.
How many goalies do you carry?
We're gonna have 4 next year. We have 4 right now. We'll have 4 next year. I'm working really, really hard that we have a senior, junior, sophomore, freshman. That makes it really, really, really easy for me. But next year we're gonna wind up having a junior, 2 sophomores, and a freshman. So I'm extremely honest in recruiting, and I can't say that I'm more honest because I'm as honest as I possibly can be with everyone. But I could not be more crystal clear with goalies and face-off guys that when we recruit you, we tell you this is how many we're going to have. I'm not saying you're not going to play, but I want you to come here not expecting that you're ever going to step foot in the field. Can you be the greatest teammate if you never play a meaningful minute? And as long as they say yes to that, then I can sleep at night knowing that I was very, very honest with them about the whole process. Because goalie and face-off is hard. Only one of them are going to play in a game. You know, face-off, you're going to have a guy who spells him, but you're going to have one guy that's going to take most of the reps. Goalie, you know, unless you're splitting halves, which not a lot of coaches do, and I've done it before. It's not ideal. Goalie, one's going to play, and if that one is a freshman and you have guys that are older than him on the team, that makes it a little bit hard. So I'm very, very, very crystal clear in that because, again, I'm doing everything I can to have a great relationship with these guys. Yes.
What's the GPA requirement to get in and to maintain on team?
So, what St. Mary's does is we go by what the NCAA says. And the NCAA says we do everything by GPA. There's some schools that do it by hours. I joke around a lot with the guys, get your 2.0 and go, but they know that I'm joking around because I don't want them to get a 2.0 and go. Okay. We have, I think our team GPA last year is a 3.35. Okay, so we are operating just above a B plus, but we're not quite in that A minus range. So we are kind of like floating in between there right now. We don't have a minimum to stay on the team. We're getting a banner right there. As soon as you walk in the locker room, it's going to be here in like 3 or 4 weeks. But we have a mission statement here, and the mission statement of this program is be great in everything that you do so that we can win our day. So I'm going to say that again. Be great in everything you do so that we can win our day. So you are a part of we. When I say everything, we want that obviously to be academics. We want it to be athletics. But we want you to be the greatest son that you could be. We want you to be the greatest person in the community that you can be. We want you to have the greatest time socially. We want you to do all these things. I want you to literally be the best version of yourself. And so we don't really focus on like what is the minimum. I focus on the standard is great and how do you hit great? And when you don't hit it, how do you respond to not hitting it? What are you going to do tomorrow? Are you going to get 1% better or are you just going to continue to kind of stay where you are? And that's how that's how the program works. That's how this family that's how this family works. I focus really, really hard on making sure that we have a standard. Everyone knows that standard is greatness. And if you are great, there will be a great consequence. And that's usually kind of what we focus on. We don't do study hall. There are programs that do study halls. There are programs, my daughter's on the volleyball team here. She has study hall every Sunday night, 2.5 hours. She goes every Sunday and we don't have a study hall. We don't have a study hall because I've done study halls before. And to me, I sit in a room and I'm just watching them do something that they came to school to do. My job as a person that is recruiting here is to find guys that don't ever need to be in a study hall at all. We used to have a study hall here and our GPA was like a 2.98. I stopped doing study hall and I got really, really, really in the weeds with making sure that the kids that we recruited here wanted to be here, wanted to be great in everything. And now we don't have a study hall and we have a 3.35. So we focus really, really hard on that aspect. What you will learn about recruiting is that this is going to be you, and this is going to be the guy that is recruiting you. And if you mesh really, really well, this is how it's going to be, and it's going to be fantastic. But if this is you, and this is the guy, and you just butt heads the whole time, I am who I am all the time in recruiting. Like, I want you to think, he's not like the most popular guy, but I understand with everybody. But I want you to think of like Dabo Sweeney. That's kind of like the coach at Clemson. I'm kind of a lot like him. I love the stupid coaching cliches. My wife thinks I'm like the cheesiest guy in the world. But I love finding ways to get guys to see what we're doing. And I love the fact that our guys love one another. And I just believe in attacking a standard every single day. And so it's through those things that we really are trying to build something that we never worry about the minimum GPA. We are worried about more what is the ceiling, what is your capability to be the best version of yourself. And that's what we are trying to hit every single day. And I am saying that stuff all the time, strictly because I want people to know when I'm recruiting them that this is who I am. So if you don't like this and it doesn't sound great to you, that is 100% okay. My wife doesn't even like it. But this is who I am, and this is how I'm going to coach you, and this is the stuff that I'm going to talk about. So if you like it, you may really, really, really love being a part of this program. So hopefully, I know that does more than just answer your question, but just to give you an idea.
Will and Brett both said that you recruit for culture.
Very, very, like the
Not
whole time.
necessarily, obviously you want a skilled player, but your main purpose is culture. And what they said and what you just said completely matches, which is impressive.
So 2017, when I was at that, the same guy that I heard say, I love what I do. I love where I do it. Most of all, I love who I get to do it with. You're like, why aren't we scoring? I'm a horrible coach. And it came to me that what I started to realize what this guy said was A+ behavior plus D strategy will still get you an A+ result. But A+ strategy and D behavior is always going to get you a D. And I don't know why, but in that moment it clicked with me that if I don't get guys in the program that can behave at a certain way and live to the standard of being great, it doesn't matter what I draw on paper, they're never going to be able to do it. And so at that moment, I really, really, really worked incredibly hard to get guys that would behave in a great way in everything that they would do. And so now I don't have to worry about are they in the weight room? I don't have to worry about are they getting extra reps? Everybody's getting better during 4 to 6. Okay, and 4 to 6 is just what time people usually practice, so I just say that. But everyone is getting better 2 hours a day in practice. It's outside of practice, how much better do you want to get? And that's being great in everything that you do. And so we focus on that greatness outside of that. And if I recruit to culture, then I know they're going to behave a certain way when I'm not looking. And I can tell you right now, I will never be in the door. I'll never go to the Green Door, which is the college bar down here. I'm never going to be at a party. I'm never going to be at any of those places. So if I don't recruit to culture and I'm not going to be in those places, I probably need to sleep with my phone on at night because there's going to be some really bad things that are going to happen. If I recruit to culture and I'm not at those places, I won't get a phone call at night because I know that guys are behaving in a way that they need to behave for us to achieve the things that we want to do. And it's funny, the more I focus on recruiting culture, the better our lacrosse program has been. So that's a lot of what I do and why I do it. And I will tell you, it's not uncommon here. Like if I probably should have, I wish I would have done it so you guys could have saw it. But if I would have told those guys, love you guys, thank you, they would have literally said, I love you back. I want you guys to say I love you in here. I say it to my guys probably 1,000 times before they graduate. I say it all the time. Why do I say it? Because it's exactly how I feel. I love the guys that I coach. I get to coach them. Like I am incredibly blessed to be around those guys. So that is a lot of why I recruit to culture, because we spend a lot of time with one another, and to be honest with you, I just don't really want to spend a lot of time with a dirtbag. I just want to spend time with like great people. So
So if you had a son in 10th grade or 9th
I do have a son in 10th grade.
and he wanted to play college lacrosse,
Mhm.
what would you tell him is the best way to do that? I mean,
So
events like this, obviously, but also video, things like
yeah,
that.
so definitely, so you want to get a video, and I'm telling you, like, you need to kind of like think about, this sounds crazy, like, you guys, like, your music is your music, and I understand it and this and that, but like, I don't want to listen to your music, so like, if it's loud and it's like this and that, and it takes over like the thing, I'm just going to hit mute. So don't worry about making it like this like incredible production. Every coach is different. There are some coaches that want to watch a whole game. There are some coaches that want to watch highlight clips. There are some coaches that want to watch extended clips to see different things. The way that I do it, the way that I love to do it, is I can tell probably in the first 30 seconds of a clip whether or not you're going to be able to help us or not. So in those 30 seconds, I can say, okay, is he athletic enough? Does he have a good stick? And does he have good knowledge of what he's doing out there? And that gets me to go see you play in person. Everybody that we recruit here, we see in person. So if we don't see you in person, well, we just don't have anyone on the team that we don't see in person. So you will, if we get a videotape, or we get an email with most of it's on like IMLCA now, but if we get something like the IMLCA link, we'll watch it. 30 seconds are up. Yep, we got to add him to the list. Where's he going to play at? Got it. We know that he's going to play there. We watch him play. We like him. We don't like him. We're very, very honest. We just say, you can help us. You can't help us. If they are a sophomore or a junior, we say, when we get to recruit your age, we will certainly be in touch with you. And that's pretty much how it goes. I definitely believe that you have to send highlight films because there are a lot of these things, there are a lot of events, there are a lot of kids playing lacrosse, so you definitely want to do that. The real big thing is make sure you are sending it and not mom and dad. Very, very honest, I'm going to coach you all, not them. So I want to have a relationship with you all. I will have a relationship with them at the tailgate, and I will have a relationship when I see them. And I go up and I hug every mom because I love my mom, and I've watched what I watch what my wife does as a mom. So I'm a real big mom. I give mom a hug. Some dads want to hug me. That's fine. Other guys want to shake my hand. I definitely will have that relationship with them, but my main relationship is going to be with you, and I want to start with you and work with you through this process, not necessarily mom and dad. So pretty much we have mom and dad on a tour, and we will walk around with mom and dad, see what questions they have, and at that point, I really don't talk to mom and dad again until we're at the we have like move-in, and I see them during move-in, and then I talk to them then, and I talk to them at tailgates, and that's pretty much it. And not to say that I don't have a great relationship with them, but I'm more interested in a relationship with the guys that are in these lockers. And so we'll watch you play. We'll have you to campus. We'll walk you around. You'll do more of like a personal tour. I'll tell you a little bit more about the culture and tell you a little bit more about what we do and how we work on the culture. For instance, every player here has an hour-and-a-half culture meeting with me where they go through a workbook of the culture, and they have to actually work through the book of the culture. I take all those workbooks together, and we come up with a culture playbook. We don't have an offensive playbook. We don't have a defensive playbook, but we have a culture playbook. Again, culture, 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 culture. And so that's kind of how that recruiting process goes from beginning to kind of then getting to the visit. And then an offer. We'd love for you to be a part of what we're doing, to then you accepting or saying no.
But Coach, we've got sophomores and juniors. I have a sophomore that really wants to come to St. Mary's. They make a highlight film, but maybe they're not in their prime yet.
Yep.
Do you still suggest our sophomores that are in this room, or even juniors, to post that stuff to IMLCA?
Yes.
So that you can see it? And do you take into consideration, like, he's just a sophomore, dude looks pretty good, we're going to put him on our watch list and then revisit it next year?
Absolutely. I'm not making a final decision on any sophomore at all. What was the face-off guy for Denver, and now he plays in the pros? Trevor Baptiste, right? Do you have any idea his story? He was going to go to Franklin and Marshall to play, and he got one offer, and it was from Franklin and Marshall, and he was set to go there. He played in a no-name tournament that no one was really in, and at that point, Bill Tierney was the coach at Denver, and just happened to be at that tournament, and he saw him winning all these face-offs, and was like, we need a face-off guy, I'm going to recruit him. And then he became one of the best Division I. I mean, I think he is the best, statistically, the best Division I face-off guy. And it was because when all these coaches were recruiting young guys, 9th and 10th graders, he was not in his prime. He was not where he needed to be. And so I love those guys. Like, we're going to have an incoming one next year who's an incoming freshman who honestly is probably too good to be playing for us. But he didn't come from like a hotbed, okay? He didn't come from a hotbed area. He didn't come from, and he still needed to develop his game a little bit as a sophomore and junior, and he wound up getting hurt, and now he's going to come play for us. And I'm really, really, really excited about him. I think he's going to do incredible things. But those things exist all the time. And so my big thing to you is I'm really, really, and I preach this to my guys all the time, don't focus on the result. Get lost in the process. Just get lost in behaving. What can I do today to get myself to the point that I am 100% better at lacrosse than when I woke up? We have a saying here in the program, I want you to crawl out of the rack. And I think I got it from Duke lacrosse. I want to say I heard John Danowski talking about it. But when you're lifting, if you're not crawling out of the rack, you literally cannot, you have to crawl out of the rack because you gave everything to the weight room that day, and you literally aren't crawling out of the rack, then you didn't exhaust yourself to get better. And so I tell the guys all the time, I want you to crawl out of the rack, crawl out of the rack, crawl out of the rack. Did you crawl out of the rack today? And those are the things that I want you to do. So we will definitely take into account the fact that maybe you're not there yet, but you have the work ethic to get there, or that you're still growing, or that you're still developing your game.
And that they should still reach out to you as sophomores if they know that same
Please.
areas is where I want to be.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Absolutely reach out to me.
What about the email? Like, what should the email be?
I mean, honestly, the shorter the better. Like,
Sorry.
my name is Jason Childs. Really, really interested in your program. I am a junior at. I can't say Severn. I went to St. Paul's. I'm a junior at St. Paul's. Went to. I noticed you're going to be at this tournament. I'd love for you to watch me. Here's my schedule. And believe me, we will get to know enough about you through the recruiting process. Once we start talking to you, and then you want to tell us that, you know, you volunteer for the Sisters of the Poor every other weekend, and you're at a soup kitchen like 7 days a week, and that, you know, you skip school to go, you know, work with orphan kids, and you're this wonderful young man, we will get to know that, and you have plenty of time to tell us that. But as far as getting on our radar and getting to watch and see you play, we don't need to know all that right away. So if you want to put that into, that's fine, but most times I don't read a lot about that until we kind of get deeper in the recruiting process. Yes, sir.
Is there more of an emphasis on club lacrosse or high school lacrosse in the process?
So I'm a real big, like, I love high school lacrosse. Like, I miss the days of, like, then again, I grew up in the 80s, so, like, I played for Parkville Lacrosse, and then I went to, like, St. Paul's, and I didn't play for a club team. None of that really existed. So, like, I miss the yesteryears of that. Club lacrosse is a necessity and a need now. But it's one of those things that I just wish we didn't need, but we do need. And it's not because, like, you have a great club coach. There are some club coaches that I talk to, and they quite literally are just doing it for the money. They don't care about the kids. They don't know the kids. I call them up and I ask them, and every kid's great, and then they show up here, and it's like, I don't really think he's great. I think you just wanted a kid to play college lacrosse because that would help your club program make money. That is not him. I have people that I trust and that I know will tell me the truth. And I've had people, my gosh, I had a club coach one day tell me, listen, he's going to come in and he's going to do one of two things. He's going to cook you the most beautiful dinner, or he's going to burn down your house. I don't know what he's going to do, but he has the ability to do both of those. And I just want you to be really, really, really upfront. I want to be really, really upfront with you. And that kid cooked some amazing dinners for us. I can tell you that. So he was an incredible, incredible player here. Had an awesome, incredible heart, and did wonderful, wonderful things here. But that club coach was awesome because he was very, very, very honest with me, saying he has an incredible heart. He just needs some help. He needs some guidance. And then I knew that going into it. I knew exactly where he was going to be. So that, I hope, does that answer you?
It does. I was just seeing, is there an emphasis on, like when you go visit, you do your in-person visits?
Mm-hmm.
Do you like to go visit them in a high school game, or do you like to go to a club tournament?
Well, we go to a club tournament just because that's usually what fits around, because when they're playing, we're playing, so it makes it really hard. But my favorite venue to recruit at is going to high school state championship games, because all the kids are there and there's cheering on their school, and there's just a lot of school spirit. The neat thing about when you go watch a young man play with their high school is that they're playing in a system, and sometimes you watch them play in a club team, and if they don't have a system, and it becomes a little bit more like show me ball, and then you have like one midfielder or one attackman doing everything. So like if you, for instance, if you're like a really, really good off-ball guy, and you like you're going to make your living at being like an off-ball attackman, I know I need to see you in high school, because you're going to showcase that with your high school team. You may not showcase that all that well when you get into your club team, and everyone's trying to kind of it's going to be about them. Now, if you're a goalie, doesn't really matter, because you're going to get shots regardless. Face-off guy, face-off guys are a little bit more club, because we know that you're going to be playing against better teams. If you play if you play in a weak conference, then maybe they're not going to be a lot of great face-off guys, and maybe you're just going to look really, really great. So we got to see you against better. So it's a little bit of like here and there with that. But for me personally, I love the spirit. I think kids play harder for it. I think one of the things that's wrong with club is that, like, you guys just played 3 games here, and then you play in another tournament, you play another 3 games, another tournament, you play in 4 tournaments, and it's 3 games, and all of a sudden you play 12 games in the summer. Do you really care if you win or lose? but you really, really care if you win or lose that game with your high school because you only get that one opportunity. And I want to see, like, what does it mean? Like, how much pride do you have inside of you? How hard are you going to fight when you have no fight left because if the fight's all you have? You know, I love seeing all of that. And in club, you don't really see it because no one has an allegiance to their club like they do to their high school. And so for me, I like that aspect of things. Again, it's probably where I recruit the culture so much because I can kind of see, like, is he our type of guy? Other questions?
Do you look for an athlete that's in other sports?
Yes, I want. My gosh, I love multi-sport athletes. I love it because there's a lot of reasons I love it. I get so worried about you guys playing so much lacrosse because at my level, I see so many guys burnt out because they just played it and they lose that love for the game. And if you have a coach or a club program that is not like great, and maybe you were like the fifth attackman on like a good club team, and you kind of got a little bit ignored, and you come here as a freshman, and things don't go well for you right away. All of a sudden, you're like, oh, here we go, another 4 years of the same thing. That gets really, really hard, and I'm having to like work through that and get them to understand. Just give me a year. Let's get a year. Let's get through a year. Yeah, playing multiple sports kind of helps keep that burnout out of it. However, I have a daughter who goes here who plays volleyball, and that's the only sport she ever played. It's the only sport she ever wanted to play. And the neat thing with her is that she is still like bright hot for the sport. And so as long as you're still bright hot for the sport, I guess I don't care what you do, but I do think being an athlete that plays multiple sports actually helps you become a better lacrosse player. Lateral movement, seeing the field, just different sports ask you different things. There'll be different spacing in different sports. So, other questions?